Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to episode 5, how to get a website. So before I launch into that, I just want to say ding, 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 eyes and ears open. And the next couple of weeks, I will be announcing some free training with me at the end of this month. It's July 2022. So if you're listening to this podcast in July 2022, head over to amyyoga.com and check out. Very soon there's going to be an announcement on some free training with me at the end of this month, and that is to launch my Prosperous Yogini mentoring program in August 2022. So if you've been enjoying the podcast and you'd like to work with me further, good news is you can start off doing that for free at the end of this month. And if you're thinking, Amy, I'm loving what you're saying and I need you on my team, I need you by my side for a bit, then you can join my mentoring program. I am all in, I am ready to help you and super excited. So that's the little announcement. Let's get on with today's podcast. So I'm hoping that you listened to last week's episode. This is almost like a two-parter where I was talking about not solely relying on social media to market your business, to tell people about what it is you do, who you are, and how they can do yoga with you. So if you're only talking to people, if you're only building relationships, if you're only talking to people through social media, then I'm saying this is potentially a point of friction in your business. 1, not everyone's on social media. 2, you can't guarantee who's finding you on social media. Not everyone's going to see your posts, for example. And finally, if tomorrow you woke up and your account had been hacked, or it just disappeared, or you couldn't get on anymore, how would that feel? To have that taken away from you? And if you think, well, yeah, it'd be rubbish, but it's not going to happen to me, I could tell you countless stories of people I know that this happens to in all walks of life, in all areas of business. So please, 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 social media is great. It's free. It's a great way to market your business. But personally, I really do feel it's like the icing on the cake. Don't rely on it. Get a website. Now, if you already have a website and you're like, oh, great, I don't need to listen to this one this week, Amy, thank you very much. Stay tuned, because this is actually way more about mindset and overcoming obstacles and hurdles in our business than actually building a website. Now, when it comes to the mindset stuff, we'll often say that running your own business is 80% mind stuff, 20% the actual physical running of the business. This is true. It's cliched, but it's true. And believe it or not, you could easily build your website tomorrow. Probably the only thing that's stopping you is your mind. Now, when we get into this mindset stuff, it is so easy to be unkind to our beautiful brains, our wonderful mind. And I want you to acknowledge that your mind, your brain is just trying to keep you safe, just trying to keep you alive. You are human. We are human, and we're totally allowed to be human, okay? And it's not about overcoming it and fighting against it. It's about learning to navigate it, to acknowledge it, and then work around it. That's how I view all this mindset stuff. Okay, so you're like, right, Amy, I don't have a website. I've got my pen ready. I'm ready. Give me this step-by-step guide on what I exactly need to do to get my website up and running. Now, look, darling, first of all, I'm a yoga teacher. I'm no web designer. My background is, if you don't know already, I started off life. Actually, I went to music college. I trained to be an orchestral viola player, would you believe it? And then while I was at music college, if I'm hand on heart truthful with you guys, performing live solo, which you might find a bit shocking because I'm quite happy to stick a camera and a phone in front of my face and chat. But performing live, performing solo on my viola, I just got so nervous, and I decided that, this was too hard for me. I was so nervous performing that this wasn't what I was meant to do. It was heartbreaking, but it wasn't what I meant to do because I was finding it so hard. So I went from music college actually straight into education. I trained to be a secondary school music teacher and started teaching in secondary schools aged 22. My first form group was a sixth form group, and so I was 22 and some of them were 18. I loved those days. They were great days. And then I actually was a secondary school music teacher for nearly 12 years. And as part of those 12 years, I actually trained music teachers and set up my own music teacher training course. So education and training has always been part of who I am. It's definitely my zone of genius. So that's how I then found yoga, fell in love with yoga, naturally wanted to teach it because I am a teacher. And then again, as part of being this yoga teacher, as my yoga career progressed, I was drawn to creating training courses, creating programs. And look, here I am now, 13 years later, after training to be a yoga teacher, mentoring you guys and supporting yoga teachers to run their own businesses. So I've been a lifelong teacher. That's my zone of genius. Teacher, trainer, mentor. That's my zone of genius. I've never taken any training in website design. I'm no web designer, but don't stop listening, because I've had a website in my business since 2008. This is such a wonderful story. So on my teacher training course, this is like, I mean, I think we forget, don't we? We just take the internet for granted. We just take it, the fact that we can log on to a web page and it pops up super quickly. Can you remember when you used to have to like plug in the modem and it dialed and it made this funny noise and you had to wait 5 minutes for a web page to load? Like, I was part of that era, okay? And I was in 2008, one of the first people in my training course to have a website. And I remember telling people in my course and it being like, wow, Amy's got a website, okay? Now, it was a rubbish website, but it was perfectly good enough. And this is what I mean by one of the barriers our mind will put is, I can't have a website until it looks good. I can't have a website until it looks perfect. And you're probably gone online and looked at some other websites of yoga teachers that look really good. They've probably been professionally built. And you're like, well, unless mine looks like that, there's no point in having one. This is ridiculous, okay? I had, for a good 12 years, 10 to 12 years, I can't remember exactly, a rubbish website. I'm telling you now, I wish I kept it. It was rubbish. It was through somebody called Jim Doe. These was in the early days. They were like the equivalent of what Wix might be today. I didn't have particularly good pictures. A lot of my pictures were selfies. I hadn't even thought about what copy converts. I just wrote my copy. I just wrote what I did and who I was and how you can come to class. I didn't take online payment. But it was a website and it worked. Like my first teacher training course, my first 300-hour foundation teacher training course, I advertised and filled that course with 16 people on it through my rubbish website. I had a profitable, sustainable business through this rubbish website. And the website was really important because it meant when someone went onto Google, because this is how we exist these days, when somebody went onto Google and searched teacher training Cornwall, pregnancy yoga Cornwall, I came up. Particularly, you know, if you're going to want to have a local business, this isn't hard. This isn't rocket science. So set up your business and get it, so you set up your website and get it so people locally to you can easily find you through your website and through Google, not just relying on them accidentally falling across you on social media, assuming they're on social media. And this doesn't end here with websites. I want you to know that I'm no podcasting expert. Did I know how to set up a podcast? No, okay, but I just decided it was going to happen. And when you decide it's going to happen, when you make it non-negotiable, I am going to do this, and I acknowledge that obstacles, hurdles are going to come up, but because I've decided this is going to happen and it's non-negotiable. And the other thing within this, I would set some form of goal, some form of target. My website will be live by, my podcast is going to start by. Now, I said my podcast was going to start. I've got my massive wall planner up here and I was just looking, when did I say I planned on my wall planner when it was going to happen? And I think it was the start of June. And then I realized I was on holiday at the start of June. So I set it forward a couple of weeks to mid-June. But so you've got your target when it's going to happen, and you know, all right, maybe you'll need to shift that target a couple of weeks because life happens, but you say, I'm doing this, it's non-negotiable, and it's going to happen by, okay? You have to do this, guys. You have to do this. It matters. And if you're like, oh, but I just want to teach yoga, I love yoga, I've got this passion to do X, Y, and Z. Well, get a website, okay, so people can find you. This is so important, because if you have this passion to teach yoga and you want to serve people and you want people to come to your classes, they have to find you. And it's much better that they can find you online. If you think of your website as a shop front, this place where they can find out who you are, where you teach, how they can come along to class, how they can book on, what they might need, all of this stuff. Like when you first go to anything new, it can be a bit scary, and it's so good, isn't it, to be able to go on the website somewhere and find out what's going on. Like I took my mum yesterday to the Headland Hotel Aqua Spa, and we had a lovely day. And the Headland Hotel have got this lovely website, and you can go on, you can look at the pictures of the Aqua Spa, you can see what you need to bring and what will happen. And I went on there so I could see what was happening. This isn't just something that is special to yoga business. This is running a business. And if you're teaching one class a week or you're running a studio, it doesn't matter. You're taking money for your services. You are running a business. And this is all mindset. Okay, mindset. So here are the steps, really the mindset steps that you are going to take in order to get your website up and live. Okay, you're going to decide it's going to happen. Tick. You're going to accept that it's going to be imperfect. Imperfect action. Okay, there is no such thing as something that is perfect. The human body is imperfectly perfect, and humans take imperfect action. So your website will exist. It is unlikely that you think it's perfect. Do I think my current website is perfect? No. Okay. Do I take it down because of this? No. Okay. Are there things I need to change on it? Yes. But it is there. It is there so people head over to amyyoga.com and can find out who I am, what it is I do, and how they can book onto my offers. It's non-negotiable. It's just going to happen, and you're going to know that obstacles and hurdles are going to come up. Maybe factor in, this is definitely what happens to me, factor in some time for technology overwhelm and tears. Okay, I'm telling you now that my podcast at some points has led me to tears. My daughter broke my Blue Yeti mic. It has actually been fixed, but I'm actually using the other mic I've been using because I love it. But hey ho, that's a different story. I was very tearful when my Blue Yeti mic broke. A few months ago now, I was editing something on my website and I pressed the wrong button and I destroyed the layout of the top navigation bar, and it was a total mess, and I didn't know how to undo this mess to start with. Yes, I cried. Okay, maybe just know that if you're like me, that's going to happen. But it's a bit like we let the emotions be there, we let the upset, the frustration, the anger be there, but we don't go, right, I can't do this, technology hates me and this is never going to work. You let it pass and you think, okay, how do I fix this? Because everything on the tech front is fixable. You set yourself a goal. When is this website going to happen? And this is really important because otherwise the mindset of procrastination sets in. So our beautiful brains like to keep us safe, and they also like to seek out pleasure. So if you're like, yeah, Amy, agree with you, I'm going to get a website, definitely going to do this, great. And then when is that going to happen? Because if you don't set yourself a goal, if you don't set yourself a target to work towards, then it can always be something, well, I'd much rather do this and I'd much rather do that and I'd much rather do this, and I've just got to spend, half an hour perfecting this reel, okay, for Instagram, and then the website never happens. Procrastination is a very powerful sort of like tool that the mind has to stop us from taking that action that's uncomfortable. We can stick in our zone of comfort, our safety zone. So just be mindful of procrastination. And if you set yourself a deadline, if you set yourself a target, then it's much harder for the powerful action of procrastination to set in. to set in, because you then prioritize, well, actually, I'm not going to do a reel this week. I'm going to spend that time on my website. Actually, I'm not going to be very active on social media this week. I'm going to spend the time building my website. Okay. And if you're not active on social media for a week, nothing bad's going to happen. I went on holiday the other week. I didn't go on social media at all. I gained followers, you know, so just take a break from social media and build your website. That's what I'm saying. Okay. And then commit to the process of learning. Okay. This is a new skill. I'm not expecting you, because I'm not expecting you to be a professional web designer by the end of it. I'm not expecting you to set yourself up as a new business where you design other people's websites and take money for that. Although who knows where this might lead you. You know, this is the other thing you find that it's something you think you weren't very good at, you actually really love. And you're like, ooh, I really love this. Like, I have to pinch myself that I'm here giving you guys advice on running your business. I didn't set out to be a business mentor for yoga teachers, but here I am doing it because I actually really have fallen in love with the business side of running my yoga business, and then come to this realization that A, it's not rocket science, B, we can all do it, and C, if we do just get our shit together on the business front, then you can have this profitable, sustainable business and spread the light that is yoga. And this is just a great thing, and I just want to help you guys do the same. So you commit to the process, learn new skills. Isn't that exciting? Because you don't know where that's going to lead you, Okay, so you're there. You're like, right, I'm going to do it. I'm all fired up. You're totally right, Amy. You're totally right. Because you know the bottom line is, you might be able to prove me different, and there's always exceptions to the rule. Like I say this about the human body, like there's no definitives, there's no straight lines, there's no black and white other than life and death. Okay, everything is blurred. Everything is interlinked, interconnected. The human body is like that, and running your business is like that. Okay, so there you probably can find me an example of someone who's got really successful business, profitable business, and they've not got any form of online presence other than social media. Okay, that's fine. And if that's you and it's really working for you and you feel really confident there's no way you're going to lose your social media tomorrow, fine. But for most of us, think about how you find out about things. Let's say you want to book a yoga retreat. Let's say you want to go on holiday with your family. Let's say you want to take up, I don't know, rock climbing. I've tried rock climbing and I hate it. I don't like heights, but I don't know why I'm using this example. But let's say you do. How do you find out about it? Initially, you go on the internet, you ask Google, and this is how we exist in the world. So for you not to exist like this is to close the door to all these lovely people that would be blessed to do yoga with you. And the thing is, once this website exists, you'll look back and go, why was I making such a fuss about that? Why did I delay for so long on doing that? That was way easier. Nostalgia sets in. That was way easier than I thought. Not just that, once you have a website, it opens the door to other things that can help you market your business and talk to people. So you then might become curious about SEO. I cannot believe I'm talking to you about SEO, search engine optimization. Now, I'm no expert on SEO again, but I do know just there's a few little nifty things that you can have about your website that makes it really easy for when people type in yoga teacher training Cornwall, when someone types in pre and postnatal training online, that people can find me, and you get yourself on that dream first page of Google, which is much easier, I would acknowledge, if you have a local business, and more challenging if you've got an online, so like global business. But look, it's all possible. It's all possible. If the mind says it's not, then it's not. If the mind says it is, it is. What we appreciates. You then not only start to get curious about search engine optimization, you think, copy. What is this magical thing called copy? I saw a post on a Facebook group the other day, and I felt so sorry for this yoga teacher. She was on some training course. This isn't criticism of a training course, but she'd obviously come to the part of the training course where they were talking about systems and processes and websites and copy. And she's like, I don't even know what copy is. And I'm like, we make these things sound really mystical, therefore they're hard, therefore we can't do them. Actually, copy is just writing. Anything you write down is copy. Anything you write down on your Instagram, Facebook posts is copy. Anything you put in an email to someone is copy. Anything you write on your website is copy. Okay, copy is just writing. You're writing. Okay, and it's great if you've got the money to pay a copywriter, brilliant, but most of us, including myself, haven't. And I do find copy really hard. I'm in the camp that I write too much. It's a load of waffle. So I've practiced getting better at copy. But at first I just created my website. And then I started to refine it. Okay, imperfect action. The other thing people find challenging is photos. Like, ideally, getting your mate and a camera, and it can be a camera off your phone, by the way, but getting your mate and a camera and taking some pictures of you, headshot pictures, you doing a few yoga poses. They don't have to be fancy, but if you wanted to do a fancy yoga pose, that's equally okay. Whatever resonates for you. There's one way you can get pictures for your website. There are also places like Unsplash where you can get free pictures. My website, up until relatively recently, was littered with selfie headshots, okay, because I hadn't got round to getting someone to do professional pictures of me. So I've run my yoga business for 13 years successfully, and I've not had professional pictures done until recently. Has it helped? Has it improved the look of my website? Yeah, but it wasn't stopping me from having a profitable business. So you might be thinking, Amy, what happened to that Jim Doe website? What's the story? So I think you may have heard this story before, and I know I'm going to go on about it again in future podcasts because it's a really powerful story that I had a crap website and a profitable business, and this website served me, that I created myself for very little cost. It was £80 a year for very little cost, no fancy pictures, no fancy copywriting, didn't take online payment. This website served me for 12 years. COVID hit, okay, and I then did realize the fact that it was a very basic website and I couldn't take online payment, and it was just not fit for purpose in an era where we were all online, when my business was going online, when my business suddenly had the potential to go global. So at this point I invested in paying someone to build me a WordPress website. Now, this was one of the best decisions I've ever done in my business. So if you do have the money to do it, I recommend investing in someone to build your website. Caveat there, make sure you can edit it. I like, hand on heart, I love my WordPress website, but at times I do find it really tricky to edit, and I again have had to go back and ask for help. I'm getting much better at it because I practice. But make sure, if you do get someone to build your website, that they're using a platform that you can edit. Okay, so to conclude, because this at the moment, there's not been much concrete stuff, do this, do that, has it? It has just been decide it's going to happen. I will give you some tips. Now, my Prosperous Yogini mentoring program, within this program, there's way more depth on this to support you in helping you create your own website. That said, I'm still not like, you must do it this way, you must use this platform and you must do it this way, because it just doesn't work like that in business. You are completely unique. What works for you in your personal circumstances don't work for me. So the program as well supports you to create these things, but at the same time supports you to use what you've already got. I will not be telling you, this is the other thing I find happens a lot, like you sign up to something and you're using X, Y, and Z, and the person running the training is using a different thing, and they're like, well, you've got to change. I had something like this happen, like not really relating to my business, but you know, someone saying you've got to move to this program, and I'm like, but I like what I've got and I know how to use that, and I can't see the overriding benefits, because often all of these things like website providers, newsletter providers, course providers, they're kind of all doing similar or same things. It's kind of what's going to work best for you. And often what's best for you is what you've already got, using what you've already got. Because another thing, we can be like chasing this dream, spending money when we don't have to. Anyway, I'm digressing because you want to hear some tips. So here they are. Tip number 1, I would own your domain name. So whether you're going to, like, the big 3 players in terms of website builders, page builders, are WordPress, that's who I use, Wix, which I've used in the past for actually my Two Little Yogis website, which is when I had a dedicated website for my book. I really liked Wix. Wix was really easy to edit, and then Squarespace. But I would own the domain name and then shine that domain name to that website. So that means that just it makes it much easier if you want to change who your website provider is, if you want to change where you host your website. It's just super easy. The next thing I recommend is you ask family and friends, honestly, who could help you for free? Who in your community has built a website? Who in your community may even do this as a side hustle or a side business? It's amazing how many people around may be able to help you build your website, or maybe have used someone at not huge cost who can help you build your website. Then, like I said, the 3 big players are Wix, Squarespace and WordPress. How do you know which one to pick? Honestly, darling, I don't know. You could go, well, Amy used WordPress, I'm going to use WordPress. Look, research it, read blogs, watch YouTube videos. This is the part of the learning process. Man, I love YouTube for this sort of stuff. And there's honestly, I would say probably YouTube is one of the biggest ways I learn. When I can't do something, I want to do this, how do I do it? I go on YouTube. Like, that's how I've learned how to edit my WordPress website, through YouTube. You know, commit to the process of learning. Generally speaking, Wix is probably going to be the easiest one for you to edit and to look good. But WordPress, in terms of search engine optimization, customization and look, is probably going to be the better one. And I've been frustrated, like I say, in the past on my WordPress website, but starting to really learn to love it because it looks good. And the search engine optimization is, generally speaking, although cats or much, is the best in WordPress. Pictures, headshot selfies, claim them. Do have pictures of yourself on your website. Videos, even better. Although be careful, if you're uploading loads of videos to your website, it's going to slow your website speed down. So go back to the image of the modem taking half an hour to load. If a website takes too long to load, people just click off. So I have my videos hosted on YouTube, and they just the link to them through my WordPress website, so it doesn't slow it down. Copy is a fancy word for what you write. The big thing with copy is less is more. Keep it simple, keep it clear. A confused mind says no. Tell me what and how you do what it is you do. So, what do you do? How do I get there? Great. But also tell me why I need your offer. Okay, what will be the benefit to me for coming to X, Y, and Z? And yes, it's really nice to have an about page and something about you. This is slightly gutting, I will say. Like, in the majority of cases, most people don't care who you've trained with, how many training courses you've done, and how long you've been a teacher. People just will come to your website and there'll be a feel, there'll be you. Like, copy just needs to be your authentic voice, you, and they'll just be like, I like the look of this person. They look friendly, they look approachable, they look inspirational. I like what they're saying they do. That is what I'm looking for. Or they'll come on and go, nope, that's not quite what I want. Thank you very much. And you want both, because you want those people that are going to resonate with you coming to your classes. Okay. And then lastly, to conclude, just decide it's going to happen. Okay. I am going to get a website. If you've already got a website and there's something else, like say you want to build an online membership, decide it's going to happen. If you're going to build an online membership, what have you already got? Okay, can you use what you've already got within your current website to build that membership? And I'll talk about building an online course business, later podcast, but I will just caveat where I've talked about Wix, Squarespace and WordPress as these websites. Some people who have online businesses or predominantly online businesses just use the online course platforms to host their website. So Kajabi, Teachable, Thinkific, they all provide you with more than good enough templates for websites. So I have my main WordPress website, amyyoga.com, but you could head over to amyyogaonline.com. That's my Teachable website. And you can see that if I was just having a solely online business, that the layout of the Teachable website is more than good enough. Imperfect action. Okay. I plan for this one to be like, keep this under 20 minutes, Amy, and I can see we're already at that half an hour mark. Pretty passionate about this. It's not really about building a website. It's about deciding whatever it is, that thing is that we know we need to do. It's going to make a big difference to our business and spreading the light that is yoga. But for whatever reason, we've told ourselves that we can't do it, or it needs to be perfect, or it just seems we've got stuck in the mindset of overwhelm. It just seems like this mystical thing that only certain magical people can do. Those magical people that can build websites, they're human beings, you're human beings, you can build a website, you can use other human beings to help you, you can have a website, okay? And what that applies to anything else. I wanted to start a podcast. I didn't know how to start a podcast. I watched YouTube videos, I read blogs. My husband, who's got skills in editing, sound, has helped me, okay? This is how I started my podcast. Nothing other than that. I am not a professional podcaster, okay? Although maybe I am now. All right, my darlings, there it is, episode 5. I hope it's been useful. I'm hoping in the maybe next week even, or in the next couple of weeks, that it's not just going to be me rambling on, that we're going to have visiting yoga teachers every now and again. I'd love to bring in a visiting yoga teacher who has got their own successful, profitable business, and they prove it's possible. So if you are one of those yoga teachers that like, yeah, I've made this work, Amy. Yeah, this is what I've done. It's different to you, but this is what I've done. Drop me a message, drop me an email, drop me a DM on Instagram if you like. I'm rubbish at picking them up, but I do eventually. If you'd like to come on and be interviewed, I'd love to chat to you, because the more we surround ourselves with people showing it can be done, proving it's possible, the more we slip into the mindset of I can do this too. The more we hang around Facebook groups where people are going, oh, it's really hard at the moment, and it's August, so coming into the summer months and my classes have got quiet, you know, the more we'll slip into the mindset of I can't make money being a yoga teacher in August, for example. That's just one example. So I'd love to hear from anyone who would like to come and chat to me about their yoga business and inspire other yoga teachers to do the same, because the more profitable, sustainable, happy yoga teachers we have in the world, the more we have people doing yoga in the world, the more the world is going to be a better place.